In politics tonight, the broad-based government has seemingly diminished the power of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and shrunk his space in the executive. With opposition leader Raila Odinga now on board amidst an elevated cabinet secretary, that is Musalia Mudavadi, as prime CS, the second in command has found himself in a similar political quagmire that his boss, President William Ruto, also found himself when he was serving as the deputy president in the Uhuru Kenyatta administration. Will Gachagua survive this new political terrain? NTV political affairs reporter Vincent Odor delves into the matter on politics and power.
The deal between President William Ruto and ODM party leader Raila Odinga that led to the formation of the broad-based government has seemingly added Odinga as another principal in the Kenya Kwanza administration. This is now creating a power matrix around the president, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, and Odinga. Odinga now has 5 of his close ODM party allies in President Ruto's cabinet. Political pundits argue that the coming of Odinga has now eaten more into whatever power Gachagua had in the Kenya Kwanza.
This government is now at 30-30-40. Give it to William Ruto that he takes 40%. Rigathi Gachagua takes 30%. Raila Odinga takes 30%. But as the national interest grows, as the national resentment grows, we are going to see William Ruto invite more allies to government. William Ruto is going to create more useful networks ahead of 2027. And by inviting more useful networks in Kenya Kwanza, he is going to eat into the percentage that is currently left for Rigathi Gachagua.
So Gachagua's power has been diminishing from the time Mudavadi was given much more space than ordinarily he should have been given. Because in the order of things, there's no space between the president and the deputy. Ruto was trying to squeeze Mudavadi between the deputy and the president. And then, in come Raila, further diminishing Gachagua's power. But again, the way Ruto went about it, he went to the people. And that's what exactly Gachagua has done. So far, because of that, he has put Mount Kenya neatly together, and I would add, under him.
Ruto has rendered Rigathi Gachagua politically and administratively irrelevant. Ruto has freed himself from the yoke and chains of the politics of the mountain. Ruto is now a free president who can make decisions, who can make appointments, who can do his political jobs without being held at ransom by the mountain.
When Kenya Kwanza came into power, Gachagua was very vocal, terming it as a government of shareholders, where those who voted for the regime were to benefit first before the others. But with his powers seemingly diminishing, will he succeed in his push for favors for his people?
And the only way to establish himself as a Mount Kenya kingpin is to make demands for the benefit of the mountain. Some of the demands are unrealistic.
And unfortunately for Ruto, he will continue acceding to those demands until such a time he comes out in the openly and tells Mount Kenya you can go to hell.
Echesa argues that President Ruto has taken a gamble since he is doing what his peers do in their second term. However, even with an elevated Mudavadi and Odinga, political analyst Herman Manyora argues the winner will be Gachagua.
Those who think Gachagua will be the loser in this game fail to understand one major point, that the community from which Gachagua comes from has several fasts. One, it's the most populous community, and therefore the kind of votes Mount Kenya bring to the table, if they decided Ruto has played with them and they want to show him, you know, that seems to be where things are heading. These guys begin with millions of votes, and wherever they take those votes, or whatever they do with those votes, should be concern to Ruto and Raila Odinga. Secondly, the Mount Kenya people are the most economically viable community. And when they choose to support somebody as a way of hitting at Raila and Ruto, that person will not need a shilling. They will raise resources and put the resource at his disposal that will scare even Ruto himself.
The greatest loser politically within the government arrangement is one Rigathi Gachagua. However, Rigathi Gachagua has won big the hearts of the mountain. Rigathi Gachagua is going to consolidate the mountain based on the feeling of betrayal which is eminent on the faces of the mountaineers. Rigathi may be putting up a brave face, just like William Ruto put up a brave face in Uhuru's administration in their second term. But William Ruto was not happy when the rubber met the bullet. When we moved closer to the elections and William Ruto was coming out as his own man, we saw him hit at Uhuru Kenyatta, first indirectly and towards the end directly. That is what we are likely to witness in the coming days.
Raila and even plus Mudavadi, that will be a poor alternative to Gachagua. Why? For every one vote Ruto will get from Western Kenya, that is Nyanza and Western, he will lose 3 votes from Mount Kenya. The numbers don't lie, the numbers are there.
So Ruto will have to balance between the interests of Rigathi Gachagua, the interests of Raila Odinga, and the national interests. In balancing these interests, he is eating into what he had promised the mountain. And by doing so, he is slapping Rigathi Gachagua politically on his face. However, Rigathi Gachagua will come out as a weak person within Kenya Kwanza establishment, but a stronger man within central Kenya politics.
During former President Uhuru Kenyatta's second term and in the run-up to the 2022 presidential election, Kenyatta had a strained relationship with his deputy then, William Ruto, especially after Kenyatta had the historic handshake with Odinga in March 2018. However, Odinga, despite being Uhuru's preferred candidate with all the state instruments, lost the presidential election.
The possibility could be that Gachagua and Ruto are playing as games. They know what they are up to. Remember, even with Uhuru and Ruto, people said there was a possibility they were playing Raila.
Some political pundits argue the Luo, Kikuyu and Mount Kenya people have a history of political traitors and they know how to deal with them. And the moment they feel politically betrayed, they come out to the ballot with all guns blazing. Vincent Odur, NTV, Nairobi.